Okay, good afternoon. So I thought I very quickly talk about autoimmune disorders. One of you, I think a few of you, wanted me to discuss a bit in detail on what this thing called autoimmune disease is. Well, first of all, I want to say that autoimmune diseases are a very complex group of disorders. Complex in the sense that they are not very easy to explain. And even the cause or the causes of autoimmune diseases, for most of them, for the majority of them, how they come about, what really causes them, it's really a gray area. But I'll try and maybe share with you a few theories, just very few, as much as possible, how these diseases do come about. I am very sure that you've come across diseases such as systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE. I'm sure you've come across diseases like asthma, diabetes type 1. You've heard of multiple sclerosis, Graves' disease. So these are some of the diseases you will hear when it comes to autoimmune diseases. And they are very difficult diseases because at the core or at the center of these diseases, it is the body fighting itself. Now, how does that happen? How would the body start fighting itself? Another way of thinking about autoimmune diseases, the easiest way is this. Imagine you have the Zambia army. You have the Zambia army, and the job of the Zambia army is to protect the country against any foreign threat. All right? Any foreign threat. That's the job of the Zambia army. In simple terms, I'm not a military person, so I'm just saying it the way I understand it. Now imagine a situation where the entire Zambia army turns on citizens and starts attacking citizens. That's the easiest way I can ask you to think about an autoimmune disease. It's a disease where your own defense mechanism, which is supposed to protect you against foreign invasion by any type of disease, begins to attack you. Your own defense mechanism begins to fail to recognize you as self. It starts to recognize you as a foreign and as a threat and begins to attack you. That's the easiest way to explain an autoimmune disorder. How does it happen? Some of these disorders arise because when you were born or when you were conceived, you inherited certain genes from your family. So you find that certain autoimmune disorders run in families. Okay? You hear that some uncle had it, your grandmother also had the same autoimmune disease, and so you also happen to have it. So you will find that some run in families. Other types of autoimmune diseases are triggered by infections. There's a theory in medicine called molecular mimicry. Now, don't mind the word, I'll explain it. This is a situation where some parts of certain organisms begin to look as though they look like parts of your body. So now, when your defense mechanisms come to attack that invasion or that infection, because of mimicry, it's like the way the chameleon behaves. You know, when a chameleon is around green grass or green bushes, it also looks green. Now, that's mimicry. Like mimicry is another way of saying it is to copy or to pretend to be something that you're not. So sometimes you find that certain parts of your body, certain parts of your body start to look to the, as far as the immune system is concerned, it cannot distinguish between, you know, the foreign body and yourself, and it will attack you. Other immune diseases come about because of the environment in which you are raised. For example, people who are raised in a very clean environment, okay, very clean environment, Babu Sakasana, you will find that children, I don't know how this happens, children who are born in such environments are prone to such autoimmune diseases like asthma, for example. I'm not saying start raising your children in filth. No. I'm just saying this so that when you see it, you understand it. Okay? Just understand it. That some autoimmune disorders are because you are too clean. You are raising children in a very, very clean environment, and their immune system is not exposed to some of these disorders, and by the time the immune system is reacting to something, they end up overreacting and even attacking self. So you have type 1 diabetes, where the immune system attacks the cells that produce insulin. So type 1 diabetes, that's why you see it a lot in children, because they are born with it. Okay. Now, I'm sure you've seen people who have vitiligo. Vitiligo is basically where you are losing the pigment of your skin, especially for us in black people. It's very easy to see. That's also a feature of an autoimmune disorder. You have alopecia. Now, alopecia areata, for example, where you start losing hair patches like that, it's also a sign that you could have autoimmune disease. For example, if you have any type of rash on the face, okay, there's some rash, it comes here, covers the nose bridge, they call it a malar rash. You might have an autoimmune disorder, and usually this malar rash thing, we see it commonly in a specific autoimmune disorder called lupus or SLE, if you hear it. Now, the issue is that with autoimmune diseases, if you suspect you have one, there are specific tests your doctors have to carry out to confirm that you do have one, and then they will end up putting you on drugs. Now, the drugs they're going to put you on, these are drugs that now control the immune system. The overreaction of the immune system is controlled now with drugs. So now these drugs, because they control the immune system and they cause immune suppression, you may also end up with opportunistic infections, like an HIV patient, depending on how long you've been on these drugs. But then if your doctor is, which I'm sure most doctors are, well exposed, they should be able to explain these things. So now, this is in general. What I'm giving you here is a general overview of autoimmune disorders. Now, if you're talking about specific autoimmune diseases, say, for example, if you want us to talk about, for example, systemic lupus, or you want us to talk about Graves' disease, now those are details with very complicated explanations. But on the whole, most, if not all, autoimmune diseases can be explained that way, that the immune system stops to recognize self and begins to attack its own self. And that's why I find that most people who have autoimmune diseases, they have more than one organ which is affected. In most cases, they'll have more than one organ which is affected. And if not properly treated, certain autoimmune diseases can be fatal. So for those of you who wanted me to explain how autoimmune diseases occur, I hope you found this useful, and I hope you can now be able to understand and be able to follow through when your doctors now are explaining to you these things. That said, Dr. Mujajati, for healthy and prosperous citizens, I wish you a great evening. See you tomorrow should I come up with another topic that requires a quick explanation. Take care.